DC Comics layoffs are going to be a bloodbath. A lot of people have already been laid off. A lot more people are going to be laid off. And the reason why is nothing to do really with comic sales as much as the new CEO of WarnerMedia wanting to streamline DC Comics like he's streamlining all of WarnerMedia to be focused into teams of people that are successful, that are innovative, that are creative, that work together and actually produce really, really viable consumer products. This is going back to an article in TechCrunch when Jason Kilar, the new CEO, the now CEO of WarnerMedia, was working on his project Vessel, which he later sold to Verizon, talking about building teams of people. From Amazon to Hulu and now with Vessel, throughout his career, Kilar has found that building teams of people that have spark, are curious, and innovative is the key to building a better model. The strength of the teams has been key to his successful business endeavors. So he's coming out of Amazon. He was one of the co-founders of Hulu. And when he looks at an organization, he wants people that are sharp, that are focused, that are concentrated on what they need to get done. And that means a lot of old guard people have to go because they're not supposed to just be there taking up space. No offense to anybody who was let go. But he needs people that are going to drive the projects forward, drive the company forward, and inspire other people that are working there to accomplish new things. This is like a hard-driving CEO. I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed with this guy. Let's get back to the article. Before we do, please do subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. It's a huge help to me. I really appreciate it when you do that. Also, if you want to support my work, collegeofthedead.com. Pick up a copy of College of the Dead Graduation Day. It's the second in an ongoing series of zombie apocalypse graphic novels. And sign up at epicmermaids.com to make sure you're on the Mermaids email list. This way I can notify you by email when the comic is launched. It's like Game of Thrones with mermaids. Really cool. Okay, back to the article. This is coming from The Beat. I would say The Beat did a good job, all in all, summarizing some names of people who were let go. As they reported earlier, layoffs were announced throughout Warner Brothers today, with as many as 600 people getting laid off. There's actually closer to 800 people getting laid off. There are 600 people in WarnerMedia, another almost 200 in their HBO division. While I don't have all the names of DC staffers who were let go confirmed, 2 people have separately told me it was a bloodbath, which is an exaggeration. Nobody died, but they did lose their jobs. Reports are that a large number of senior staffers were let go, including many senior editorial, marketing, and administrative personnel. Among those we've heard are gone, Editor-in-Chief Bob Harras, Senior Vice President of Publishing Strategy and Support Service, Hank Kanalz, Vice President Bobbie Chase, and editors Brian Cunningham, Mark Doyle, and Andy Khouri. The latter two were key to the Black Label initiative that they think we're making money, so it's a bit of a shock. It's not about making money. It's not about making money at all. Time Warner threw away an entire independent streaming channel that had a good potential to it as a very small niche business. They're not interested in small niche businesses. It doesn't mean they're going to cancel all their comic books, but it does mean that if they're going to do comic books, they're going to get what they want out of it, and that it's going to be something that is going to lead them to something else. Whether it's video games or TV shows or movies or more streaming content. And he needs a focused team that isn't going to be just telling him how they used to do things 20 or 30 years ago. He needs new, sharp, looking forward, as he says, like leaning forward type of people that are going to kind of drag old media into the future. In addition, Vice President of Marketing and Creative Services, Jonah Wieland, has been laid off. They're told. Word of the layoffs first surfaced publicly in this tweet. Amid massive layoffs at Warner Brothers, I'm getting word of an absolute bloodbath at DC Comics. Bob Harras, Mark Doyle, Brian Cunningham, Andy Khouri. Okay, we saw those names. Jim Lee is still with the company, but no longer publisher. They'll probably keep him around as a Stan Lee type, but they're not going to have him leading anything. He's a great guy, but you barely even hear the guy talk. DC Collectibles gone entirely. Yeah. So, while Lee's position isn't clear yet, his new role may be more of a creative one than a business one, so it'd be a title change more in line with his skill set. Yeah, everybody likes Jim Lee. He's a nice guy, and he's a great artist, so why not keep him around in some role? But would you have him lead a team and get a group of people together and say, hey, we have to accomplish something together and inspire people and get the best work out of people and then fire people when you have to fire people? That's not Jim Lee, So, no, you wouldn't, but it doesn't mean you throw him out. You put him to work doing something useful. But when you the thing is this, and I know Bob Harras, for example, is a legend. It's just Bobbie Chase. I've never met Bobbie Chase. I've heard her name. I've heard Bobbie Chase's name around forever. But that's the problem. You need a focused team of people who can absolutely execute on new strategy and new innovative ideas, and convince other people to go along with them. So, unfortunately, if you've been around a while and your results are not phenomenal, then you've proven you can't do the job. So these are the people that are going to get pushed out. Please bear in mind, these are just the names I've heard multiple times. Many other long-term, I'm talking very long-term DC employees have also been let go. They're hearing. I'm sure, especially long-term. He does not want, this is the same guy that just did this. He just got rid of the head of the guys who launched HBO Max, which was a very successful streaming launch for them and is the future of the company. But they're old media guys. So he's not interested in fighting back and forth with old media guys. He wants new people to come along. In a way, I look at it and I say to myself, like, I don't like people being cut who've been loyal and they work for the company for a long time. But when you're trying to move the company forward and deal with a changing industry, what else are you going to do except say, okay, look, we're going to focus on what we need to do. We're going to focus on what we do well. We're going to only be in very important high margin lines of business, like very profitable, very important to the company lines of business. And we don't need to make our own toys, these DC collectible products. If within DC Comics Entertainment, they have a division that makes their own specialty statues and action figures, and that makes $2 million a year, it's not worth it as a distraction to management. They need other things from publishing these DC young adult and comics and whatever it is, the graphic novels, whatever they're publishing. They need very, very successful focused things. For example, you've got Dogman from Scholastic selling millions of copies a year. 16% of the entire graphic novel book trade everywhere is Dogman. 40% is owned by Scholastic. 40% of the market, but 16% of the entire market is freaking Dogman. Why can't DC publish something like Dogman? Because their focus is not on generating new hits in comic book format that could then be translated, like Dogman is going to be, to other media and become like billion-dollar properties. Why can't they do that? Because they're not focused on doing that. And they're not focused on doing that is because they've had the same management team in effect for years and doing different versions of Batman and having Batman be a villain and all the other stuff. They don't need any of that. It's not the thing that's going to move the needle. It's not going to create a new multi-billion-dollar property or feed the streaming or create a movie franchise. It doesn't happen that way. We can never do like a killer Batman or a vampire Batman and make a movie of a vampire Batman because it would destroy the Batman brand. It's a clever idea, but it's very small. It's very niche. It's not what they're looking to do with all the resources of WarnerMedia screwing around with the definition of the franchise. This is going to probably result in a lot better comic books and graphic novels with a serious approach on production values. I don't think you're going to see the 5G comic line type of SJW thing that they almost started doing with Didio. The end of DC collectibles. Okay. So they don't want to give out more names until they get confirmation of names, which is very responsible. Good for them for doing that. Why just throw names around and freak everybody out? But one of the most important names, and I knew this was going to happen, and I'm going to drag this out here. I'm going to pull this out. One of the important names, the most important name here is this for me. Jim Sokolowski, Vice President, Comic Book Specialty and Newsstand Sales. Why are they getting rid of him? Don't they care about sales to comic book stores? No, they really don't. They're not interested whatsoever in selling comic books to comic book stores anymore. Why? When the business was good, there was some money in it, sort of. But that was like 25 years ago when they had 10,000 comic book stores plus. Now they have less than 2,000 and most of them are failing. The only ones that are successful are who? DCBS, a discount mail order service, and Midtown Comics, another discount mail order service. Now, there are other retailers like Mile High Comics and mycomicshop.com they're successful. They mostly sell back issues and they make money selling back issues. That's not relevant to DC Comics. They're producing new things. They're not involved in back issues. So why did they just do exclusive distribution deals direct to consumer or direct to distributor for DCBS and Midtown? Because they're direct to consumer operations. Because that's the future of physically printed books that they're going to publish. They would much prefer comic book stores didn't exist. That's my view. And just to see them, why would they go and lay this guy off? Are they going to train somebody new to be a new vice president? They just don't like this guy, Jim. They're not even getting rid of this guy for salary. You know, a lot of these guys, a lot of these people, you know, why get rid of the executive assistant to Jim Lee, Sandy Resnick? Is Sandy really pulling down like, you know, a 7-figure salary? They really need to cut that payroll? It's irrelevant. They don't, Jim, they want Jim to be his own man. Jim, no assistant for you. And Jim Sokolowski, we don't need you coming up with strategies of how to sell specialty and newsstand markets. We don't care about comic book store and specialty newsstand sales. That's what they're saying. And why? Why are they doing that? Because he wants focus. This is why he killed 3 of his top deputies just a couple of days ago. This is coming from Bloomberg, Quint. It's an interview. This is an interesting interview, and I'm going to do more with this interview. I'll do a separate video. It's kind of interesting. So Bloomberg says to him and asks, you just fired 3 of your top deputies, including the 2 people in charge of programming for HBO Max. Why was that necessary? Because remember, these 2 people in charge of HBO Max actually spent like a year or whatever launching HBO Max under a $4 billion commitment to go from scratch to a brand new streaming service, which they did successfully. 4 million subscribers in the first 2 months, launched May 27th. Here's his answer. Well, the decision had nothing to do with the performance in any shape or form. In looking at where we'd like to go and how the company was organized, we had 2 content organizations, and they both worked on HBO Max. The tough decision I made was to go from having 2 to 1 content organizations. I think it's the right thing to do for the company in the interest of focus. Meaning that he wants focus. He wants a very tight organization where people all know what they need to do, where they all collaborate on whatever, innovative solutions as curious executives with a sense of spark, a sense of energy to them to accomplish goals. He's not looking for any old Hollywood structures. He's not looking for any old publishing structures. Go find a picture of this guy. All the pictures of this old picture from 2016. It's kind of funny. It just kind of came up that way. But in any event, that's what's going on. Major bloodbath at DC Comics. I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to read it for yourself. And there'll be much more news on this coming very soon. I'll do more videos on this and try to give you some insights, that I see from, the background of some of these people who are making some of these decisions and what they've said through other platforms and other publications and things like that. So you can kind of get some inside context on the decisions and figure out where the future is. It's kind of obvious that if this guy co-created Hulu, went to go work at Amazon, and then at 48 is put in the position of the CEO of WarnerMedia. That's who this guy is. So, no, he's not interested in making collectibles, and he's not interested in doing the things the way that used to work 30 years ago. And for him to look at this is the guy that pulled the deal on Diamond. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. This is the guy that said, listen, the market's completely collapsing. Why are we selling to comic book stores in the first place? Let's just get this direct to consumer. Of course, they don't want to sell direct to consumer. So the mail order companies are like essentially licensees for them. And of course, the mail order companies can sell directly to comic book stores as if they were collectors themselves, like fan stores. And that's what they're doing. So tell me what you think in the comments below, if you're picking up the same kind of vibe that I'm picking up, or if you're thinking of anything else different. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's a huge help to me. Click the bell for notifications. And again, check out collegeofthedead.com and check out epicmermaids.com. I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I'll miss you.